Hi guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to Femhead. Today I'm going to do a little 3-month update on Theo / motherhood. I cannot believe I've had a child for 3 months. It feels like I've been doing this forever, but it also feels like I just had him. Since he's been born, I've made a couple different videos, favorite products, how's breastfeeding going, how's cloth diapering going, and I decided to just kind of combine all those in today's video and give you a general update of how everything's going. So first, a few things about Theo. Well, this is all about Theo. He doesn't like his car seat anymore. I don't know why, but he hates being in his car seat. I think he just doesn't like being contained and not being able to see everything. He's a very curious child and he likes to see everything. He drools a lot and he likes chewing on things, sucks on his palm, his wrist, or his fingers or whole entire fist. He doesn't really do pacifiers. The only time I can get him to take a pacifier is when he is in his car seat and he needs to take a nap. So he smiles and coos and talks a lot and it's so much fun. It's so adorable. He hates tummy time. He absolutely hates it. He has such a strong neck because he doesn't like snuggling anymore. He likes facing out. He likes standing up. He won't sit in your lap. He likes to stand in your lap. So he's very strong, standing up. Sometimes during tummy time, he'll look around for a while and for about a minute, and then he just screams and puts his head down. And I let him kind of fuss around and work it out for another minute or so. But he needs to do it, needs to figure it out. But I'm gonna talk about diapers, sleep, breastfeeding, developmental leaps, travel, and favorite products. So he's officially grown out of these pre-folds. So he's on to the size small pre-folds, which they're just a little bit too big for him, so I have to fold it down in the front when I wrap it around. The jelly roll fold, that is my favorite fold for where he's at in life and his poops and everything, because it just contains it so well. I love our cloth diapers and I cannot emphasize that enough. I love the system we went with. The pre-folds and covers, and you have to have one of these little snappy things, but these are the size small. This is what he's currently on. Clothies, pre-folds. These are the Thirsties covers. I love these things. Anything that this doesn't hold in, this holds in, and it's glorious. And then we also, I discovered, had some of these hand-me-down. I don't know what these are called. I know there's certain brands that call these workhorse ones. It has a flap, it has snaps. So this is just an absorbent layer, but you still need a cover. So I'll put these under this sometimes, and I discovered these. I'm like, oh, this is great for when people watch him, or when we're out and about. And these are great, and these are bum stoppers. I don't know, they were hand-me-downs. The only times I've had leaks or blowouts is when I haven't put them on right, so that's just user error, but nothing like what we just experienced on a trip to San Diego. I didn't want to bring my cloth diapers because I don't have enough for that length of time, and we didn't have a way to do laundry, and I didn't want them to be sitting in urine and poop for 4 days. And we had disposables that a family gave us. How nice of them, they gave us a box of size 1, 2, and 3. I still had some newborn sizes left over from the hospital, which he still fits in because he's a small boy. But I learned right away, those aren't absorbent enough and just don't keep what he's got going on in. So we had a blowout on the first plane there. And then we had 2 or 3 more massive blowouts while we were in San Diego, all with disposable diapers. And the first one was because he wasn't a newborn and he probably should have been the size 1. But the rest of them, after that, I put him in size 1 diapers, and I made sure they were tight and everything, that all the little flaps around his legs were out, but it was all up the back. And I think one around the leg. So I don't know if it just wasn't tight enough. He fits in the newborn, but he needs absorbency of a size 1. So I was not a fan. Both me and Michael we don't like these at all. We don't know, they're not cute. They're not good disposable diapers, not more eco-friendly ones. So we've got a couple trips coming up, so I'm trying to decide on a more eco-friendly disposable option. Love my cloth diapers. I do laundry every 2 to 3 days. It's great. I'm actually doing laundry right now. I probably need to go switch them. Some bleaching. Google it, look it up on YouTube. For anyone that thinks oh, I want to do cloth diapers, but they might just be a little bit more work than me or my family want to deal with. Even I was shocked with how easy they were. I can't imagine not using them now. Sleep. So I kind of eventually want to do a whole video on sleep. I'm not an expert, but I've just been I'm fascinated with baby sleep, and I don't have it like figured out by any means. I think I was geared up to lose a lot more sleep than I have lost. And granted, like, I've lost a lot of sleep. This kid's almost 300 days old. 300. He'll be 100 days old next Wednesday. So I would say, like, in the beginning, it was like 3 hours of sleep a night. It's probably down to like I'm losing an hour of sleep a night. Cut the difference, say 2 hours of sleep a night over 100 days. That's 200 hours of sleep loss over 8 days of sleep lost. That's crazy. As soon as we got our heads above water a few weeks in, even from the beginning, I was trying to get him on a schedule because that just makes your life so much easier. And it's not like a very strict, like, this, my baby can only eat at this time and sleep at this time. It's flexible, but understanding, okay, he needs to be awake for this long. He needs to go to sleep at this time, wake up at this time, and he can go this long while he's sleeping without eating. I would say from around 5 weeks, he started doing a 4-hour stretch at night. And right now at 13 weeks, he consistently does a 6 to 7 hour stretch. And with the recent daylight savings, I think it's kind of confused him because he used to go like 6 to 7 and now he's back to going like 5 or 6 hours. But it's okay, I know he'll like even back out once his little body adjusts. So during the day, I feed him every 2 to 3 hours depending on when he wakes up from his nap. So his schedule during the day is wake, diaper change, eat, awake time, and then nap again. And so I try to keep him awake for at least an hour, but closer to an hour and a half, and that includes his feed time. So from when he wakes up to the nap to when he goes back down for nap is about an hour and a half. I push for an hour and a half because then he will usually sleep longer, but if he's just not having it at an hour, I'll put him down. His bedtime is around 7 p.m. and sometimes it's 6:30 because he just needs to go to bed early, and sometimes it's 8:30 because we're out and doing something. His bedtime routine is really simple. We give him a bath every couple of days, put on a fresh diaper, put on his jammies, and then feed him, and then we'll put him to sleep. So 7 p.m. bedtime, and then I feed him about 3 hours later at 10 p.m. when Michael and I go to bed. Sometimes that's 9:30, sometimes that's 11:30, depending on that period of time from when he went to sleep. I unswaddle him, I change his diaper, and I feed him. I try really hard to not interact with him during the night because I don't want him to be like, oh, this is a fun, exciting time to be asleep. It's like, no, this is business. You wake up, you eat, and you go back to sleep because you're tired and it's nighttime. So after I wake him up at the 10 p.m. feeding, I don't wake him up after that. I let him wake me up. He's in his bassinet right next to us, and he will grumble and fuss a little bit here and there throughout the night, like kind of waking up between his sleep cycles, but I wait for him to actually like wake up and cry, and not like cry a bunch, but I can definitely tell like, oh, he's awake now, not just like getting comfortable. Usually been around like the 4 or 5 a.m. mark. Once again, I will unswaddle him, change his diaper, feed him, and then put him back down. There is a rare night where it takes like half an hour to get him back down to sleep, but like 99% of the time, you know, maybe bounce him for a little bit to like see his eyes lull, and then I'll put him back to sleep. And then I let him sleep until 7:30, or if he wakes me up between like 6 and 7:30. The longest stretch he's gone between feedings at night is 8 hours and 20 minutes. I can't wait for him to be able to go from that 10 p.m. feeding till 7:30 a.m. But I'm also okay with the middle of the night feeding because he is on the smaller side, so I want him to make sure he's getting enough to eat and gaining weight and all that good stuff. So I would say that Theo is a good little sleeper. I want to say it was like his 8-week leap or whatever when he got just super fussy and needy, and he wasn't a very good sleeper, and so I got kind of lax on the whole putting to bed drowsy thing because he just was not having it, and so he just needed more putting to sleep to actually go to sleep and to take a nap and everything. But now I'm like, okay, we need to get back to working on not putting you in your crib or your bassinet asleep or pretty much asleep. So I'm trying to like ease back so he's like more and more awake but still drowsy. Everyone's gonna tell you put your baby to sleep drowsy, and it's a circus act. I find that sometimes me trying to soothe him and control him to sleep is actually keeping him up rather than just letting him put himself to sleep. Moving right along, this is actually going to end up being a long video, I can tell. Breastfeeding. I've been very lucky from the beginning with Theo and breastfeeding. It seems to be going very well. He latched right away after birth. He didn't have any latch issues. I didn't have any supply issues. He is on the lower percentile. Is that the right? Yeah, lower percentile for weight. He's a little guy, but I also think Michael and I are both slender, slim people. So I think it just might be his genes. And the pediatrician isn't too concerned because he is eating every 2 to 3 hours. I do produce enough milk from what I can see from when I pump. I would say something new with him is he gets distracted when he's eating, and so that will like stop him from eating as long or as much. But what I kind of find, if you kind of like cover his face a little bit with your shirt or your sweater or, you know, the blanket, and you can't see around him, then he'll kind of focus in and eat. Before I had him and when I was learning about breastfeeding and everything, I just kind of assumed that babies would just eat 15 minutes one side, 15 minutes the other side. Like I always thought they would just eat the same length of time, but it's sometimes he'll eat for 30 minutes. Sometimes he'll eat for 7 minutes, and it's like you can burp him, you can give him a break, you can try to put him back on, but when he's done eating, he's done eating. That's just something that I found interesting that I've learned since having him. Next category, developmental leaps. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Wonder Weeks. So I got the book from the library, and then my friend shared with me that they actually have an app, which is the only app that I've ever paid for. Fun fact. You put in their due date, and then it tells you when the storm is coming. So babies have 10 developmental leaps in like the first year and a half, something like that. They're developmental leaps, so they're learning new things. Stuff's happening up here. They are fussier, more needy. They have more difficult times like sleeping and eating and things like, they just seem like a crabbier version of your baby. And if you don't know what's going on, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? What's going on with my child? But when you understand like, oh, he's probably going through his leap right now, it makes it so much easier for you to have patience with them and to not just get like frustrated and down on yourself for being a bad parent. So it's very helpful to know that something's coming. So for example, he's headed into his 4th leap coming up in about a week. And this is one of the longer ones. Could potentially be 5 weeks long. I'm not ready for it. He's going through something, he just needs a little bit more attention, a little bit more love, but then truly when they get through that leap, they're able to do new things. Each leap he's gotten like happier and happier, more of a personality, and it's just really interesting to watch. Let's talk about travel. So Theo is a good little traveler, I'm just gonna say that. He has gone on 3 road trips. Yeah, I think the first one he was like 17 days old or something, like he was itty bitty. And the most recent one was to California, which required 4 flights, 2 there and 2 back. And I wasn't like super nervous about flying with him because he is a good baby and like I understand how to soothe him and everything, which I'll get into. Before you have kids, there's always those flights where there's a baby on the plane and it just screams and screams and screams, and I always felt bad for those parents, and some people get annoyed with them. They see a baby on the plane and they're like, oh, this is gonna be awful. And so he'll be about 4 months old when we take him to England. He's already got his passport and everything. It's so freaking adorable. And I'm just not nervous about it. And I would say that the biggest things that help with traveling with a baby, I would prefer to fly with him versus drive with him because like I said, he hates his car seat. So him not having to be in his car seat and being able to travel is a great thing. Obviously when you're like there and driving around. Anyways, the biggest thing that has helped with him is 1, knowing his schedule. When does he need to eat? When does he need to sleep? Being able to feed them on takeoff and landing. A piece of advice that I've heard from everyone, they're like, oh, make sure you feed them because that helps their ears pop and adjust. He only had minimal fussing on 2 of the flights when he needed to like go to sleep. He's just like, Mom, I'm tired. It wasn't even like real crying. It was just kind of like grumbling and fussing. So I just popped him in our sling carrier and stood in the aisle for a couple minutes and just kind of bounced and soothed him, and he fell asleep. While it is easier to keep them on a schedule from the comfort of your own home, Theo loved being out and about. He loved seeing all sorts of new things, seeing people, interacting. He made a little baby friend on one of our flights there. And he definitely adapted to taking naps in his car seat, in the sling carrier, or in the hotel if we happened to be there during a nap time. And I would say he slept great at a hotel. He had a 2-hour time difference, plus it was daylight savings that weekend, but he was a little champ with all of it and really didn't slow us down too much. I would say that I felt so much better on this trip than I did during the trips that we took where we drove, and I did not understand like sleep schedules and how to like soothe him and how to get him to sleep and swaddle him and all that stuff. So it has been revolutionary, which I'll talk about in my favorite products. And I keep mentioning this because I just want everyone to learn about baby sleep, something I'm going to start gifting to people. So the first thing I'm going to talk about that is help with travel, which is help with sleep, is a Taking Care of Babies course. I took the 0 to 12 week course, and it was just, like I've said before, it's not anything like super revolutionary. I'm sure you've read about what she teaches in different books. Seeing it put in action, just the way she explains it is just so helpful and so beneficial, and I credit so much of my just sanity to that course. More favorite baby products, and I've mentioned most of these in previous videos, but my sound machine, I got the Marpac Hush. It's a little portable sound machine. That thing goes with us everywhere. Swaddle, I got the Ollie Swaddle. It's spendier. I think I actually have a discount code, which I'll link down below, where you get like, I think it's like $5 off or something. But I like that one because it's so much harder for him to get his arms out of. One of my new favorite things since some of the most recent videos that I've made is our sling carrier, and it's actually my sister's that she's letting us borrow. I love our Solly baby wrap, and that's great when you have time to like wrap them up and everything, but especially for travel and flying when you need to like get them in, get them out. We checked our stroller and our car seat, so it's great to just throw him in the carrier, and then you have 2 arms. It's really easy to take him out of and then to breastfeed. I really like the wrap, but it's hard to then take him out, breastfeed him, and then put him back in. You kind of have to readjust it. Monitor, still one of my favorite things. When he was a newborn, like a month old, like that first month, I would just have him nap next to me on the couch. I wasn't really doing anything, so we were just kind of like chilling on the couch together. But now that I'm trying to like get back into a schedule, get work done, it's great to be able to just put him in his own room where he sleeps better, and it's just a controlled environment, but I can watch him and make sure he's okay. And if I hear something, it's not like, oh, let me go look at him. I can just look at him on the monitor and be like, oh, he's fine. I did not think I would get a monitor. I did not think I'd be a monitor person, but I am. Cloth diapers, I talked about those already. Definitely favorite products. I have a renewed love for them after this past weekend of using disposables. Our bassinet, I really do like it. It's great for travel. We got this specific one because it was so travel friendly. It's only like 13 pounds. It folds up into a backpack. It's really easy to set up, to tear down. I got the bassinet attachment, and then we have like the travel one normally when he gets bigger. And I was trying to think of other ones, but I wanted to include things that I used or were relevant for like everyday things. That is my 3-month update for Theo and me. It's not really about me. The only postpartum issue that I feel like I'm dealing with right now is hair loss. I don't know if you can see that. Thankfully, I have quite a bit of it, so it's not really noticeable, but it's a lot of hair. But I'll make a separate video about like my postpartum update, because this video is already gonna be super long. Anywho, I'll link everything I talked about down below. I hope you enjoyed it. Life's great over here. I'm really enjoying this new phase we're in. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!